What is going on, guys? A quick video about my thoughts on the current situation in terms of Ethereum and why I think it's about to pump. I'll also go over the zones which I am looking at and why I'm looking at those zones. So first off, let's take a look at the path to alt season. Me and many others currently think that we are about to enter phase 2, okay? And that is Ethereum is outperforming Bitcoin, and we hear talks of the flipping. Now, this has not happened yet, okay? Ethereum is not outperforming Bitcoin in the slightest. Bitcoin is going absolutely parabolic. So currently, we're waiting for Ethereum to start outperforming Bitcoin, and that is one of the reasons why I think Ethereum is about to pump. I think a lot of money is about to flow into Ethereum, and therefore I think we are going to see higher prices on Ethereum. Now, if we jump back to TradingView, you'll be able to see that I've already drawn out a few zones here. So first thing I want to take a look at is the RSI. This is not something I typically use, but when it comes to crypto and higher time frame analysis, I like to look at the RSI. This right here is a pretty significant point of reversal. It's basically the constant encroachment, which is, a fancy word for the middle point of something. So this is the middle point of the RSI. And as you can see, if we take a look at previous data here, this is a point in price where it is likely going to reverse, right? We see it happen all the time. Price hits the middle point and then gets a rally. And I'm sort of expecting the same thing. Now, the reason why I'm paying attention to this is because if we talk about technical analysis, this low right here, that's very near the middle point of the RSI, is also a significant point of liquidity. Now, liquidity, if you guys don't understand, is a fancier word for orders inside of the market. And I am anticipating this to act as a magnet because there's a lot of people who are currently long on Ethereum that have trailed their stop loss to this low. And so there's a lot of money resting below these lows here, again, because they're equal, right? So the people who had their stops here did not get stopped out by this low. Once we got these displacement candles here, even more people went long and their stops are likely here. So there's a lot of build up liquidity around these lows. And not only that, it also overlaps quite well with this daily imbalance that we see right here. This is one of my models that I use every single day inside of the futures market primarily. That does not mean that it won't work inside of the crypto market at all. That is simply why I am interested in possibly taking longs off of Ethereum once it reaches this level. And again, if we end up sweeping these lows, we are likely going to touch the middle point of the RSI, which I just showed you is a historical point of reversal for price. And so there's a lot of overlap in technical reasons as to why Ethereum could be on the verge of going a lot higher. Now, one of the reasons we determine the order flow of a certain asset, whether that's a currency, a stock, or a futures contract, is to pay attention to how we are reacting to bearish PD arrays versus bullish PD arrays. Now, a PD array is an overall term to describe fair value gaps, order blocks, inverse fair value gaps, and all these different things. So taking a look at the order flow here, you'll be able to see that all of the imbalances we made out here, which are ideally meant to support price and send it lower, as you can see, that is exactly what this imbalance did right here. Quick explanation for the people that don't know. It's a 3 candlestick pattern, and the gap in between the top candle and the bottom candle is an imbalance in the market. And as you can see, this one right here acted perfectly as resistance and pushed price lower and pushed price lower every time it came up there. But then at the beginning of November, we saw a huge rally through not only 1, 2, but 3 fair value gaps, that is bearish fair value gaps, right? So at this moment in time, we were violating all the bearish fair value gaps out here. And so let's pay attention to what happened to the first bullish imbalance that we hit. So right here, we have a bullish imbalance that's meant to support price higher. And that is exactly what it did, right? We held this imbalance to the absolute T. Now, the way that we determine a violation of an imbalance is a candle closure below on whatever time frame the imbalance has formed on. So this is a daily chart on Ethereum. And as you can see, there's no candle closure below this gap here, which means that it has not been violated yet, right? Now, let's pay attention to what happened to the second imbalance. We tapped it, and then we went higher. The third imbalance, which is this one here, we tapped it, and then we went higher. Now, notice what happened as soon as we created a bearish one. We traded right through it, right? And the same goes for all the PD arrays out here, which were meant to send price lower. We traded right through it. So we're trading through everything that's meant to send price lower, and we are holding everything that's meant to send price higher. This says a lot about the situation on the asset that we're looking at, which is Ethereum. And again, it just tells me that this asset is bullish and it's probably going to continue being bullish for quite a while. Now, we just hit a significant point of interest on this asset, which was 4,000. You could kind of compare it to 100,000 on Bitcoin. It's a level that's been talked about for ages, right? It's a psychological level. And so the last time we went all the way up here was in March. So we have not been up here for a very, very long time. And so when we get there, we can expect a pullback to happen because people are taking their profits. It's a psychological level. It's quite a significant level of resistance, as you can see. But I do think that we are going to trade through it in the very, very near future. So there's a few key levels which I'm monitoring on Ethereum. The first one was the one I went over. That's this one here. That's the highest probability one, in my opinion. Now, this is quite an early entry, so it could result in you being a little bit too early, which is essentially what can happen when you are swing trading an asset. You can be absolutely right about the order flow and the situation on the asset, but you can just be, arriving a little too early. And then you got to take a couple of losses to eventually get that one big win. So my first point of interest on Ethereum is going to be this level right here. So that would be the sweep of the 3,506 low. That is a model I've traded for years on end. I know the probability of this playing out if the order flow is correct. Now, again, we could see a larger pullback, and that could mean that this is, too early of an entrance. So the next point of interest would be the optimal trade entry, drawing it from the latest pullback, which is here. You could either do it there or right here, right? So another interesting fact is this is the latest pullback we've had. Optimal trade entry from that to the most recent swing high overlaps very, very well with the lows that I was talking about here at 0.706. That is, again, something that's going to support my confidence even more in this level right here. But if we take the optimal trade entry from this pullback, that could be a potential second entry if this one ends up failing. So that would mean this order block here also is supported by the optimal trade entry of this entire range. I'm not really going to anticipate price to move lower than this, although it is completely possible. The absolute lowest I would expect a market to go, if it longer term wants to go higher, is equilibrium of the range, which would be right around here. So there's three levels I'm watching. There is the lows up here, which is the highest probability one in my opinion. But again, you could arrive too early and get stopped out because of that. The second is going to be the optimal trade entry from this pullback right here to the most recent swing high, which would be the order block that we have right here. That's going to be the second entry, which is very close to this entry. So you could just enter off of the first one and have the second one included in your stop. So it could look something like this. You could have your stops very near these lows right here, and then you could target the all-time highs if that's where you're thinking Ethereum is going, right there, right? So that would be a 3.69 R position. Now, what could happen is that price wants to revisit equilibrium of the range, which it sometimes will when there is correction moves in the market. It likely won't go a lot lower than equilibrium of the range. So just how this right here on the RSI is the equilibrium, because it's the middle point. That's the exact same analogy that we're using here. It's the middle point of this trading range right here, drawing it from external lows, which means the lowest point of the trading range to the highest point of the trading range. That overlaps very well with this order block that we have right here. So that is, again, another potential entry, either that or the lows, right? So somewhere in this area is a potential entry. Up here is another entry. So these are probably the two entries that I would be interested in monitoring on Ethereum at this current moment in time. Now, again, this is trading. Can it fail? It absolutely can. But through my experience, this has a decently high probability of playing out. And again, all we can do is trade off of probabilities, and that is exactly what we're doing here. These are systems that I have used for years, and they have made me money for years, but that does not mean that these won't fail every now and then. Simply making a video to explain my thoughts on Ethereum and my possible entries if you were to start trading Ethereum based off of the information that you get out of me. So what you could do is long it on a daily chart for a swing position on Ethereum, or what you could do is trade it intraday and then trade after you get the reaction off of the levels I called out, which means once we sweep these lows, you can jump on a 5-minute chart or a 15-minute chart, and then you'll have the direction for that intraday trade. So there's a lot of ways we can go about these levels right here, but at this moment in time, I am going to remain bullish on Ethereum. The reason why we're struggling right now is because we have hit the psychological level of 4,000. Just like Bitcoin struggled for a while on 100,000, it eventually broke through, and I'm expecting the exact same thing to happen on Ethereum. And again, the lowest I would want Ethereum to go is 3,000. I'm not going to expect that we go all the way down there, but that is the lowest I would expect it to go. So thank you a lot for watching. That was my thoughts on Ethereum. Let me know if you guys want maybe weekly updates on some of the mega cap cryptos like Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana. Again, I haven't done a whole lot of crypto content on this channel, although I do like researching and trading crypto myself, so I could start making more crypto related content if any of you guys were interested in that. But again, that was my thoughts on Ethereum. Let me know what your guys' thoughts are and if you think these levels will end up holding. Just remember, we are traders. We are trading off of probabilities. Nothing is certain. Because I say something does not mean that is what is going to happen. It simply means that I think that price is more likely to go higher from that level than it is to go lower. There's always a chance that that does not work out. So just keep that in mind if you end up trading. Thank you a lot for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.